It Sure Is a Podcast does not condone any of the following statements. Look at you, a fine, upstanding American citizen. You work hard and earn real-world dollars. Your only purpose in life is to buy and consume merchandise, and you did it. You went into a store, an actual honest-to-God store with the mask and everything, and you bought something. You didn't ask. You didn't raise ethical questions. You didn't raise ethical complaints. You just looked in the bleeding jaws of capitalism and said, "Yes, Daddy, please." I am so proud of you. It is disgusting how proud I am of you. I only wish you could have bought more. I wish you could have emptied your entire bank account. I wish you could have emptied the entire store. Look at the possibilities of what you can buy in person. But remember, you can buy even more on websites like Amazon.com or wherever you spend your money toward capitalism. Food, clothing, video games, cheap knockoff Lego, the entire series of Friends on DVD, that one singular season of Firefly starring Nathan Fillion, paparazzi, silver screen scarlet dog costume, accoutrements, inflatable evil unicorn horn for cats. I only wish you could buy more things to feed the capitalist machine. So, go out. Do your citizen duty. Do your damn American right. And bye. Hello, welcome to another episode of It Sure Is a Podcast. I think this is episode 8. I don't necessarily remember off the top of my head, which is probably bad, but oh well, here we are. So how's everyone doing? I have actually fallen off the diet wagon. Now, it not like completely fallen off, it's still something I'm pursuing, but yesterday was a time of weakness, shall we say. And a lot of people, whenever they have that moment of weakness, they always like to go to a place they really like. Go to a fancy place. Go get a gourmet meal that doesn't align with their diet, but they're going to spend money on it. Mine was just Taco Bell. I was at a friend's house doing some tax things, and I was on my way home, and I realized that the only time I've eaten that day was in the morning, which was yogurt and some granola, and that was it. And I was just drinking water all day. And I was like, man, I feel like complete trash. That's when I realized. So I'm like, okay, we're going to stop at the T-Bell. That's what our hip kids call it. And also, I'd like to point out, maybe if you heard that our feathered little bastard is back. I swear, I hate this thing. I hate it so much. I want nothing to do with it. The bird's back in town, ruining my life. And it's always when I have a free weekend that I have to watch this little shit. And actually, there's just been a lot going on, so we have a lot to talk about. But back to Taco Bell story. And honestly, I'm not going to fight with the bird. There's nowhere to put it. It squawks as loud as it can. It's just something we're going to have to live with. So get ready. This is the podcast where there's a bird in the background being annoying as hell. And it only talks when it can hear me talking. It does it in spite. I hate this thing. I wish it would go. I'm half tempted to open up the window, put it outside, and be like, bye, see ya. So anyways, back to T-Bell. T-Bell was a very interesting experience. The first time I've been back in a while. If it's any indication of how bad this food is for my body, my morning flatulence has been clearing out rooms to a degree that even I'm not comfortable with. Even my dog left the room. My dog. The animal that seeks out things to roll in that are dead. It's bad. It's really bad. So I pull in a Taco Bell. I pull in there with my Jeep Patriot 2012 black vehicle. I don't know why I really specified that, but it's part of the story. And as I pull in, and I can't make this stuff up, there's a tour bus. Okay, a little odd, because the tour bus, how are they doing business? So the tour bus is just sitting there. And due to COVID-19, how are they doing business? So I pull in, that's the first alarm. The second alarm is in between the Taco Bell and where the tour bus is placed. There is an ocean of Amish people. An ocean of men and women dressed up in, standard Amish attire. And when I'm pulling in, I literally become the Moses of the Amish people. They part as my vehicle pulls in. I'm parting the sea of Amish people. And I slowly approach the drive-thru, which has a few cars in it, but it's manageable. Okay. So I pull up there, and I get in line behind all the other cars. And actually, this was one of the first times I've actually seen a group of autistic Amish kids. Like the very obvious kind of Down syndrome look to them. Because up until this point, I've never really actively seen an autistic Amish kid. And honestly, me and my, ignorant mind thought they probably treated it like the Spartans did. They have a kid look at it and be like, you don't look quite right. Chuck it into the woods where, I don't know, the witches can have them or whatever. But yeah, I saw, all right, so it was a big Amish group. Okay. So I'm a little curious by that. And the Amish that were in the parking lot does not even equate to the amount that I saw inside the Taco Bell. Like, it was packed. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, these folks are breaking all the quarantine rules. Like, oh no, this is really bad. And all the workers, I can see them in there because I had a good shot of being able to see the inside of the building from my vehicle while I was waiting in line, that they're like, all the workers are like, they have their mask on and they're like, oh my God, what is happening? And these Amish people are like, I don't care about no virus. Ezekiel and I want some tacos. And I give them props. Like, that's ballsy. It's bold. I appreciate it. Especially in these days, ages, and times where everyone's afraid of everything. So, while I'm waiting in line, I'm witnessing all this with the Amish community. And there is also a worker. And I would assume it's the worker's friend standing out by the dumpsters. Well, one is sitting kind of in the fetal position, just bawling her eyes out. And the other person just there talking to them. And they both kind of look like older teenagers, like 17, 18, around there. So I'm sitting there waiting in line. My windows are cracked. Well, the one is, the other one's just all the way down because it's warm and I'm not using my AC and blowing up my motor, waiting for all this stuff to happen. But that's also happening to the side. And then also, there is a vehicle in line who pulls out of the drive-thru line, and they try to turn around and go around my vehicle to the sea of Amish people right behind me. And as soon as the vehicle pulls up, I don't know why this time, but the Amish people just refuse to move. The vehicle stops and it's just sitting there, and the person even honks the horn, and all the Amish people just look at him. They're like, what are you going to do? We're going to get out our Gideon Bibles and smash your windows in. Back off. So the vehicle backs up again, almost hitting the dumpster area where the two people are. And then, I don't even know how, like swings around and goes around the line, even though the space in between like the drive-thru and there's a little side space where you could pass, I don't think was big enough. I don't know. This person just did it. They drove out. I think they drove on the curb a little bit. They drove out. Okay, they got out. They were having a big deal. So these two who were sitting by the dumpster, let's talk about that scenario. They are talking very loud to the point where I can hear everything clearly. And I'm also like listening to a podcast while I'm sitting in my vehicle. And I'm just like, okay, So I pause the podcast, turn, everything down so I can hear. I'm like, all right, let me get this tidbit of info. And the girl, I guess, was just in tears saying, she's like, I screwed up so bad. And her friend's trying to comfort her, but to no avail, obviously. And she continues to cry and be very upset. And the one little nugget I get out of this is that she's like, I should have made him wear a condom. And at that point, eyebrows are raised, and I'm like, ooh, this is getting spicy. So I don't necessarily know, like, did she take a pregnancy test before she went to work? Did she do it at work, worked her shift, and waited for the results? Because I know it takes time. I don't know. But that's just what I heard, and that's just what I kind of just assumed. And her friend, which was, I'm not 100% sure if it was a guy or girl. I'll be honest, I could not tell. And I don't even know if I labeled a gender on it when I was talking about it earlier. But I really couldn't tell. And they're just like talking, trying to calm them down, trying to talk them off the ledge. And I really start to become engrossed in their kind of little side narrative at late night at Taco Bell. And she keeps talking about, he said we were going to be safe. I should have never done that. I'm such an idiot, all that stuff. To the point where there was actually another car that came in behind me, and the Amish sea opened up again and let them through and then closed. It was kind of like a lock. Is that what it's called? When the boats come in, a canal. Is it a canal? I'm stupid. Don't mind me. But the boats come in on the water level. The gate closes. It fills up the water so the boat can continue through on a different elevation. I hope I'm right and not stupid. Actually, we're going to take a momentary break, and I'm going to look it up on Google because that's just going to bother me. To Google. Yes, it is a lock. Yes. Thank you, 5th grade. You helped me out so much. So that's what the Amish people were acting like, a lock for all these cards come through. So where I was, I got so involved in their narrative that actually the car came behind me and everyone else pulled forward and I didn't notice. So the person behind me starts honking and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I pull forward, I order my food, which I do 2 beef burritos, 2 cheesy bean and rice burritos, and 2 miniature chicken quesadillas, which that's $6. And let me tell you, for $6, that was a meal. Especially for me, what I've been eating. I'm used to eating less. Also, they took the beefy Frito burrito off of the dollar menu. I didn't even see it anymore. And it was replaced with a beef burrito. So times are getting bad when Taco Bell decides, we can't afford to put Fritos on this burrito anymore. So, get it off the menu. Just put a beef burrito. That scum will eat it up anyways. And yes, we did. So I order my food, pull forward a little bit. I don't get to hear the rest of the issue with that girl. Hope the best for her, whatever the deal is. And I get my food. Actually, the guy who was in the drive-thru window was super kind, chill. And he kept saying like, oh, I'm so sorry you had to wait. I'm so sorry. And I even told the guy, I'm like, dude, you got a tour bus here during a pandemic and you're down a worker because someone's crying out by the dumpster. Like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And the guy actually kind of laughed at that last comment. So I don't know if it's aware or if... But at the end of the day, yeah. I got my food, came home, sat down, ate it. It was delicious. It was just a morsel from heaven. And then this morning I wake up with just the most explosive and stanky poops I've had in such a long time. It was bad. Oh man, Taco Bell. I love it, but definitely even right now, I'm not feeling too great. I feel almost hungover. Just because I ate some fast food, I feel hungover. Which is just insane. That, that food has such an effect on us in our bodies. And I mean, today diet's pretty much out the window only because I'm going to go meet a friend. We're going to get some drinks out of the place. Go take my dog for a walk. So hopefully I can stick to it, but if I can't, I can't. It's the reality of it. Take it one day at a time. But I had lost some weight. And I have actually started to thin out in the face a little bit. So it does work. It just, you got to stay consistent. But also, it's a lifestyle change. So once I stay consistent on that, then things will start happening. The kids' books still haven't gotten the pages to the person yet because they're busy with stuff, apparently. So I'm kind of just waiting in the wings for all that to kind of settle down and sort itself out. Which is just bananas. Honestly, just straight bananas. So that was my diet Taco Bell adventure that I recently had. And at this point, everything's just going straight down the toilet. That is just... I don't even know what to think anymore. Things that used to shock me do not shock me anymore. Like this whole situation, like I would be like, oh my gosh, guess what happened? And I'd be telling everybody. And then when I experienced it yesterday, I was just like, this is a normal day. This is just every day. Nothing, absolutely nothing has changed. Welcome to the real world. Next little thing I thought would be pertinent, speaking of diets, is I was guided to a subreddit due to a different podcast called Immobile. So let me read you what the summary of the subreddit is. This is a place for anything and everything related to immobility and fetishism. We want this to be a safe place for every member of these communities to feel welcome and to share their experiences and or media content. Okay. So that was the first warning. And the podcast suggested that we go to it, but they didn't touch on it, right? So I was listening to this and I'm like, okay, what could it be? So I go there, and my young, naive little brain stumbles upon what this is. Apparently, this is bordering on the line of a sexual fetish, where these people eat so much food and get so fat, and it is their goal to get so fat. To the point where, all right, right now, I've pulled up an image of a woman who, of course, has a breathing tube on. Like one of those they put in the hospital, the plastic tube, shove in your nose, put around. Those are extremely uncomfortable. And I've had to have one on me when I went to the hospital forever ago with pneumonia. Like it got so bad that one of my lungs just straight up collapsed. And there I couldn't even breathe. But this woman is ginormous. And I can't even tell what is a genital and not what isn't a genital. I can't tell if this is a man or a woman, honestly. There's no comments, so I can't really go in there and see. But it's gross. And it really looks like that this person is living kind of in an assisted living home. And I guess the best comparison to tell you how wide this person is that whenever you walk into a hotel, there's always that, not hotel, like your hotel room. There's always, when you open the door, there's always that little hallway that goes into the expanded room, which has the couch, TV, bed, depending where you go. And the sheer size of this woman is the exact width of that hallway. She's bigger than the door. She's definitely bigger than the door, guaranteed. And I'm like, whoo. And then people post on here that says, looking for a feeder to make me immobile. And it has a little piggy emoji, and it's just this blob. I think this is a person. And then let me read you this I think this is like some sexy fan fiction. I don't know. This is maybe some fetishism stuff. So the post is, give in to the slob within. Look at you, so big and round and fat. Nothing fits you anymore, and anything that does is either too small or is covered in stains. You don't wash anymore because you can't fit in the shower. You're drenched in sweat from doing nothing but eating all day. You say the only time you move is when you use the bathroom. Why bother wasting the calories? You know you smell, you know you want to keep eating, and you can't even wipe anything down there anyways. Just let it go. Wherever you're stuffing that fat gut, if you feel the need, let loose right there and don't stop eating. Who cares if it makes a mess? There's a whole mess of crumbs and food stains where you're probably sitting anyways. Give into your inner piggy and wallow in your own slop. I'll be honest, I had to do a few takes of that because I could not get into it. I had to read it a few times just to this is someone wants you to eat and get so fat that you're literally pissing and pooping on yourself because you're too lazy to get up and go to the bathroom. I don't even know how these people use toilets. Like, looking at the sizes, the toilet would break under that pressure. And of course, that post has 53 upvotes. Oh, here's the other one that I saved. Whew, these get crazy. Yesterday, I was in the self-checkout at Walmart, and I turned around, and there was this girl, in parentheses. She looked maybe mid-20s. She looked young. They're on one of the scooters they have, and she was big. Huge, I'd rather say. I admit I had to do a double take. Her upper body was much wider than the seat, and her stomach was super big and wide too. It hung way past her knees. It was around mid-calf length. I kind of wish I was able to see her out, but the person I'm with wanted to go get something and I missed out. I hope she's doing well though. So, what? Like, the tone of that was like, okay, this was super sexy to me. Or the tone was, okay, this is what I witnessed. The verbiage that was used in there was just right on the line of just uncomfortable. And then someone puts, man, I wish I lived in America, COVID aside. Someone replies, same, I've only been to America once a few years ago to visit family in Florida. Despite that, probably the 5 biggest women I've seen were in Florida. And I won't go into the other comments branching from this, but it becomes incredibly sexual. And then there's an image of this guy who is just sitting there, bigger than the bed, with just like food on his like chest. Like on a plate, obviously, because he ain't an animal. And there's like stirrups that he has to hold up. And there's just a woman standing there like in the corner crying. And he has one of those grabby arm things sitting in his bed. So it really seems like that everyone wants to be so fat that they don't want to move. Oh my gosh. So what I've been using, and at the expense of other people, which is I feel kind of bad about, but at the same time, it's a motivator, and it kind of seems like these people just want to be like this, so more power to them. Yeah, there's just a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack. So if you're ever on Reddit and you just want to melt your brain to something, immobile is something that you'd want to look up. Oh, I kind of jumped off the track of what I was saying. Whenever I feel like eating bad food, and I didn't really look into this until after I ate Taco Bell, I've started looking at this. So this is only a day, but whenever I'm like, oh, I could go for a Wendy's breakfast, I come to the subreddit, I scroll through it, read some stuff, and those kind of cravings go away. So maybe at the expense of others, I found something to assist me. I don't feel good about it. Let me put that out there. I don't feel good about it. Here's another post that I will actually end on. I just take this as you will. I'm just sitting here just shocked that this is a thing. So the title of the post is Dear Piggies of All Sizes. Yes, yes, yes. I know you want to be too fat to move. Legs and lower belly swollen and red. Debilitating belly apron. Too fat to fuck yourself. Risking heart attack and with every orgasm. Wholesome goals. But that doesn't mean you have to wait, sillies. Don't move. Get laid off. Fire. Quit. Collect if you can. Quarantine. Hard. And the hard's in all capitals. Only move to eat, bathroom, shower twice a week, sitting, changing sheets once, but don't wash the old ones. Get food from the door, no contact. 2 months. Long enough for clinical atrophy, which speeds up the gain. You can binge or not, whatever, just don't move. Look at your phone, TV, stay in one position for hours. 2 months. Report back. That's another post. That it's like, is this person like making fun of these people? Or is this person like getting their jimmies off to this? I don't know. I've stumbled upon something that I am not sure I can ever come back from. Why is the internet so terrible? Oh, I think we can scoot on to the next topic I was going to talk about, which is the internet being terrible. Right now, and at a time, I really try to support YouTubers by watching their ads, because I know that's how they make money now. But I can't do it anymore. I slapped that ad blocker. Right on my computer. It's been great. I apologize that I'm one of those, but I can't anymore. This election season and just the stuff that has been just pouring out of these ads has been absolutely atrocious. It has been so... And I don't even know what they're trying to sell me on. I don't know if they're trying to sell me on the political ideals, the person. I can't tell you. I really don't know. So, whenever I play a game, especially a looter shooter, I'll have my phone sitting next to me, or heck, even sometimes my iPad. I'll just put some videos on, kind of in a playlist, and I'll just watch them just out of the corner of my eye, ear, just because looter shooters are really, you're going to be grinding a lot, and that grind isn't as engaging. It's enjoyable, but it's not as engaging as other content. So, it's just something to entertain yourself, keep your mind stimulated. And just the ads I was getting, and there's no context when these ads are going to come up, because sometimes it'll show the little yellow bar on like the YouTube video scrubber that you can go through everything. Like, there might be some indication, but sometimes there isn't at all. The like ads that I've been getting. Definitely I've been getting the Democrat one where it's like, hi, it's Stacey Abrams. The Democrat something something is having a huge fundraiser, and we need your money now to be able to flip the Senate in our favor. Any donation that you give will be tripled by lobbying Democrats. And I'm sitting there just like listening to this. I'm like, what is this? And there's the same one, but it's an old guy who yells at you about money. And I kind of think like, that's got to be the biggest and dumbest sham, but people buy into it. someone will be watching and they'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll throw my money in there. That's fine. Like the government and everything related to that, they make enough money off of taxes and everything they bleed us dry from that you don't need to give them $1. Okay? And actually, I'll come back to this point a little later, so just keep it in mind that I'm going to jump back and forth. So I've been getting those ads. I've also been getting Biden ads, which is, I guess, trying to sell me on Biden as a person. They're like, he suffered a lot. He's gone through so much. And that's why he should be president. Or people will just be talking about, Joe Biden does stuff every day. He likes to go fishing. He likes to eat quesadillas. He likes to, and I'm just sitting there like playing my game, and I'm just like looking, I'm like, what is going on? And just the intensity of these ads that are just so focused on pretty much trying to manipulate and sell you the idea. And obviously we've gotten a little political, so I apologize. But this is, like I've said in past podcasts, this is affecting my gamer life. So we got to talk about it. And I'm not saying one way or the other, because I've also been getting a bunch of Trump stuff on saying, like, Trump's going to protect us. And Trump's ads are really dark, and it's almost like a setup for, like, a horror movie. Or it's like a horror trailer. I don't know. It's crazy. So, after being bombarded with that, I did it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, folks, but... And actually, because that had been starting, I've actually significantly watched YouTube less. It used to be my thing where, oh, I'm going to watch a video, I'll check up, see what my creators are doing, the people I support. But no, it's killed it for me. I'm done. I'm out. It's just disgusting. Disgusting!
Disgusting!
So now I don't really watch anything, or if I do watch something, or it's more I listen to something. I just do audiobooks now. Oh yeah, the thing I was going to go back to. So, that's the context I gave you was all these very politically charged ads. So recently I went to a friend's house because I have some other outlying ambitions and goals that I would like to obtain. And with those goals, I would very much so like to obtain them within the next few years. Cool. It's a goal, it's a thing I can do. Awesome, beautiful. Mwah. So I had to apply for an IRS tax number. And probably some of you hearing that is just like, oh, okay, I kind of get an idea what you're doing. I don't want to really go into it just because that, when I do the podcast, I want to talk about the nerd life and everything related to that. When I do talk about my outside life, I like to keep it a little private. So I applied for one of those. So I had to go through my Google, how to apply for this. And technically, once you apply, you're technically a business. So I'm technically an independent business. And there's other stuff I have to apply for, which I'm in the process of. But yeah, it's... After I went through and got that number, that is when I started getting spammed with all these political ads. And it just shows how much Google is taking information from you, how much anything online. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, my phone's sitting right here. That's how I was looking up the Reddit stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of ads that I would get would be based off of the things I kind of talked about today. Because the phones are always listening too. Thankfully, I have nothing to hide. I don't care what you find out about me. Cool, you found out something about me. But, yeah, I'd be very interested to see. So after that is when I just started getting absolutely swarmed and bombarded with this stuff. So, congrats. You won. You made me become the bad guy, I either die the hero or I live long enough to see myself become the villain. I become the villain. I couldn't handle it. I know anime sites like Crunchyroll will do ads like that too, which is really incentive to pay because those ads are just as politically and just crazily charged as the stuff you see on YouTube. So let's leave that. Let's put that in the past, okay? I'm very excited for Remnant from the Ashes. I think it's the last DLC pack they're doing. Subject 2923 has come out. And I don't remember if I talked about Remnant in a different podcast. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But this is honestly one of the most fun dungeon crawler, looter, shooter sort of games that I've had fun with in a long time. A lot of fun I've had fun with. You know what I mean? It was a very pleasant surprise. And I actually picked myself up the game on my PC, PC Master Race. Woo woo! Give me some skin. Hell yeah. Yeah, I just high-fived myself. On the Epic Store, Epic Game Store game launcher, you could get that for free. And as long as you have the launcher, it's free forever. So I purchased that, and I purchased the 2 DLC packs, which are... Honestly, I don't remember what the new one was, but the Swamps of Corsus, that one was only $10. So I spent $20, I think, right around there, on the game that I got for free. That's cheaper than getting it anywhere else. And I know that's Epic's game model. I know some people will be like, I can't believe you've done that. You betrayed the... I don't care. Free stuff is free stuff. Like, if you walked up to me on the street and you're like, dude, here's the deal. I will give you $60,000 if you just let me... I don't even know. Let me ram you in the butt for 20 minutes right here in public. 60,000? Yes, I would do that. Or if someone just walks up to me and be like, hey, I'll give this to you for free if you do this, very tasteless thing. Yes, it's free. I got bills to pay. My morals cannot be overriding my ideals of I need to stand up to this and no, free is free. That's all I'm going to say about it. But that DLC pack has come out. And, jeez. I'm sitting in my basement, and I just got a flash of immobile to my brain because I went to scratch under one of my chubby pectorals. Because, like I've said in the past, I'm a thick boy, and there's just sweat underlying it. I'm like, oh, man, I'm fat. Back to Remnant, please. I need to stay focused. So the 2 DLC packs came out. And they've been great. And really what this game is it takes the idea of a dungeon crawler. You just run through these dungeons. You run through this kind of overworld. You just kill enemies. You level up. You get items. And it's not necessarily a looter shooter that, like, items will drop from enemies. If you kill bosses certain ways, you can get different weapons from them. And their idea, the point to come back to is like, killing bosses and getting their gear. That's what you want to do. And you can upgrade your gear. You can get different armor sets. All the armor sets have a base, strength level, but they also add a buff to you. It's super cool. And the framing of it is set almost in Lovecraftian horror and kind of dimensional stuff. Long story short, since like the 1930s, Earth has been just kind of ravaged by this thing called the Root, which is just these demon zombie tree people who like to kill everything and consume everything. So you start to travel to different worlds to find a way to stop the Root. So, and these are like worlds, like almost like dimensions or planets, right? So you're on Earth, then you go to a place called Crom that used to be this civilization like ours, but after nuclear war, they're all pretty much cavemen or living in the Stone Age. And then there's Corsus, which is a very kind of fairy fantasy inspired swamp world. Then there's this jungle world that I never remember. And then there's just other stuff. So the new DLC adds a whole new set of worlds that's very based in Norse mythology. And I'm so excited to dive back in and get into that. But since I'm playing on PC, I'm trying to level my character up. You don't necessarily gain levels, you gain traits, which boost your stats, but they're levels. And then your armor can be upgraded, and you can really kind of play to your own style based off of that. Because you have two weapons, something like a shotgun or a sniper rifle, or any kind of rifle, long gun, and then pistol, which is short gun ammo. And long gun ammo is for the snipers and stuff. And then you have a melee weapon. And the melee weapons can do cool stuff. Some of the bosses, you have to kill them in a certain way to get a certain item. There's this one boss who is this giant mutilated claw demon that is very tough on its own. But how you can actually get a special weapon from him is you have to shoot him in the legs, have him stumble over. Then you just grab the spear, yank it out of his back, and then you have to beat the boss. Because if you die, and it kind of has that Dark Souls inspiration where it's tough, but this game isn't like Dark Souls tough. It's tough, but it's manageable. Like after you rip the spear out of his back, you have to beat him. And once you do that, then you get the item. But if you like rip the spear out, you die, you do it a few times, then you're able to defeat him, but you don't rip the spear out, you'll get an item, but it won't be the melee weapon, which is a spear, which is cool. So there's just a lot of different ideas working with that. It's very fresh and creative, but because it plays to tropes, but it doesn't play to the standard tropes that we're used to right now, right? Everything is either space related, military related, and this one's kind of like Lovecraftian, realm hopping. So I'm super excited to get into that. And there's always this kind of very simple, digestible mythos that you can be able to figure out on your own. And the armor sets look cool too. It's a good time. Mwah. And also on top of playing Remnant from the Ashes, I've been playing a lot of Fall Guys. And Fall Guys is the battle royale that anyone can play. Battle royales are what really the industry wants to push right now. They're all with guns, when you die, 100 people versus. Fall Guys is that same concept, but it's framed in kind of a cutesy TV show like Wipeout or just a bunch of obstacle courses. And you play as these little jelly bean men. And there's all these different types of obstacle courses you have to go through, and you have to race against 60 people. It's just really good, clean, enjoyable fun. And I think it's really the battle royale that everyone can play, because anyone can get into it and do good. Right, like regular battle royales, you have to know how to play first-person shooter, first of all, and then you have to master all the stuff. And there's a lot of metas and stuff. There's no meta here. Dude, you're just a little jelly bean man, and you just run around and dress up in cute costumes. And I think that game's made by, it's a studio, and then Devolver Digital published it. And can I be real with you? Out of all the studios I've ever played games from, Devolver Digital has never made or published a bad game. Right? They may have created a game that I didn't like, but going through and playing these games and checking them out, I was never like, oh, this is broken, or oh, that's a terrible design thing. They all functioned. They all were good, just some games weren't to my liking, and that's okay. I can still appreciate a good game and not like it. Like I talked about Hideous Kajumbo's game last time. I love that name. Hold on. Hideo Kojima. I gotta get the name right. Like Death Stranding. I love everything about the game except playing it. I can respect it. And that's what Devolver Digital, they only make good stuff. I've never been disappointed. Even the games I didn't think I would like, I try them and I'm like, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Hideous Kajumbo. I'm sorry, Hideo Kojima. So in between Remnant and Fall Guys, that's what I've really been playing, except for the occasional grind on Destiny. So that's where we're going to cut it. So be safe out there. Go out there, do something. If you don't want to leave the house, hey, work on that project you always wanted to. Work on that thing. Write that book. Make that comic. Make that YouTube series. Whatever you want to do. Go out and do it. I give you approval. I love you guys. Stay safe. Thanks for listening. I'll see you later.